Hello, and you're listening to the Tiny Vet Podcast with me, Dr. Nicole Sue, and my fiance.
Me, comedian Jez Watts. Nicole recently bought a bunch of diet cat food to be delivered to our friend's address as their cat is too fat and he hurt his paw when he jumped. Because it was too much weight to him. The delivery we just found out was returned to the company with the advice, no one of that name at the address, which means that cat can talk. Yeah, baby!
Yay, Artichoke! Use your powers
Artichoke's
for
been getting a
good.
bunch of shout outs, and Artichoke, I assume you understand what I'm saying right now because you were able to tell a delivery driver to go away and screw off.
Yeah, you fat lard.
The diet food is not as delicious, but it's good for you, buddy.
You're 12, man.
It's
I'm
good
worried.
for you. What are we talking about today, my love?
Choosing the right horse. Why?
No.
It's a big mistake.
Yes.
A lot of people have problems with this.
I agree. You need a really dumb horse, apparently, that tries to murder you regularly. Is that right?
That is the opposite. That's what you try to avoid.
But that's what you have, so that's weird that you would choose the wrong horse.
He was free.
Yeah, that's true. It was free. I will say, now, having been, sort of at one remove from it, but seeing how much it costs to keep a horse, I feel like there's no need to pinch pennies at the beginning, because it's all going to cost you. It's going to cost you so much over time. It doesn't matter if the horse comes free. It's still going to be the most expensive thing in your life.
Do you know how expensive horses can get?
Yeah, listen, I know you keep telling me your horse is a cheap horse, and I'm like, dude, this guy is not cheap.
People will buy $15,000 ponies for their children that their children will outgrow.
Horses eat the rich's horses.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Let's say if I sold Rocky now,
Yep.
he'd go for about $5,000 to $6,000. Yeah. So
And instead, you spend that much on him every year.
Yes.
Or more, I reckon.
I've cut back on spending. Yeah.
I mean, you love him. I understand why. That's the conversation we had before you got him. You sort of went, hey, I can't really afford to have this horse, but I could get him. And it was that conversation where I said, well, hey, I can't afford to be a comedian, but I'm doing it. And so you should pursue your dream as well. And it's definitely, I think it's been, I would say, whenever we've actually run our finances or whatever, he's the most expensive thing.
100%.
I mean, you pay for him all on your own. We don't split the cost, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is the most expensive single thing in your life. But it brings you so much joy, so it's worth it. You know?
After rent, he's the most expensive.
Sure.
Rent's
After
still
rent.
the most expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
So next week we'll be recording this in a cardboard box.
On the back of a horse.
But yeah, choosing the right horse, it's a problem that a lot of new horse owners have.
Right.
I've definitely come into contact with horse owners where they've gone for something that they shouldn't have prioritized.
What do you mean?
Like color.
Oh, right.
Yeah, or they've let their heart kind of get away with them.
Yeah, okay.
And they've got a horse that they probably shouldn't have bought.
Like maybe the horse is too difficult to ride or whatever
Yeah.
safely?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, but the horse may not be a beginner's horse. They may be a nervous rider, and they haven't really bought a horse that's going to complement that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And one thing in particular, because I own a standard bred.
Yep.
And standard breds have a reputation for being, level-headed, smart, steady horses.
Wow, you really, I can see why Rocky was free.
Yeah, but Rocky is sound as a beep. He's very sound.
Sound as a pound, you could have just said. That's the phrase.
Is that really?
Yeah, sound as a pound.
I must be British.
Yeah, it was before Brexit. The pound is no longer so sound.
Yeah, but he has not been sick like a day in his life.
Yeah, sure.
His feet are amazing. I don't have to shoe him.
Right.
He is actually incredibly
healthy. You have to shoo him away. Because he...
Oh, yeah.
He always put his head everywhere near you, looking for carrots.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Yep. No. But yeah, so some people go, I'm a beginner, I'm just going to get a standard bred, and they forget that a standard bred is still a racehorse. They're still an ex-racehorse.
Oh, always? You can't find standard breds that haven't raced?
You can.
Right.
But usually they will have still gone through race training.
Yeah, okay.
So some of those horses you'll say, yes, they've trialed, but they've not started. They've not actually raced.
Yeah, okay.
But they're still fit.
Okay.
They were still bred to race.
Right.
And their training hasn't really been a saddle horse training.
Okay.
So people still forget that, and they forget that it means that they are still not beginner horses.
Okay, so what's a beginner horse then?
The perfect beginner horse, a 20-year-old ex-schoolmaster.
I was going to say, yeah. Because when we went trail riding in Tasmania, they put me on just this old sort of broken down horse, named Thunder, but actually not, was like a very chill horse, and just was like, yep, cool. And also, clearly because it was like part of a trail riding company or whatever, used to people being on him that didn't know what they were doing.
But not necessarily broken down, just...
actually, he was a nice horse.
Yeah, they're just
old and
they've
chill.
been there, they've done that, and then nothing phases them.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So one of the people at my adjustment, she has exactly that. He's amazing. It's like riding a couch. He's also very big, but like he's not intimidating because it's like riding a couch.
Right.
And
after
really,
the lockdown, so am I. But so go on.
His main fault is that he's incredibly lazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But that's kind of what you want for a beginner, because you don't want something where you're going to, like, clutch a bit and he's just going to take off.
Yeah, okay.
Like, with him, you clutch a bit and he blinks. But that's absolutely the perfect horse for a beginner, because one, they are used to teaching people how to ride.
Right, okay.
Two, they've kind of seen everything.
Yep.
They've done everything, and they're not really frightened by anything.
How old do horses live?
So usually, like, he's actually probably in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
Now, and he wouldn't jump him or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you can still continue to ride them lightly, until they're 25, sometimes through 26, 27.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
At that age, obviously they're not, competing. They're not, being ridden heavily, but light rides, a little bit of trotting, a little bit of canter. That's fine for them.
Okay.
So that really is the perfect horse for a beginner. They're worth their weight in gold. They're so hard to find because they're worth their weight in gold.
Oh, right, okay. So it's like you got to find temperament, I guess, and health, right? That's
the thing. An ex-schoolmaster, to make it to that age and still be a schoolmaster, that's all built in.
Schoolmaster?
Oh, sorry. A schoolmaster is a horse that knows everything and can teach people how to ride. So like an old riding school horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or you'll see horses being sold as Grand Prix schoolmaster. That means they've come up the level of dressage and they can actually teach the rider how to do these things.
Yeah.
And that's not to say off the tracks are bad.
Yep.
They're just green.
And off the track is X-race horse, right?
Yeah, they're just green. They're not nasty, but what you find is that they're not balanced because they run in a straight line.
Yeah, Rocky's not balanced.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like...
You always want to turn slightly to the left.
Yeah.
I remember, that's certainly when you first got him particularly, because you've done a lot of work with him over the last 5, 6 years or whatever it's been. But yeah, he wanted to run, and he felt that was him doing a good job whenever he ran very fast in a slightly curving to the left line. And so turning right was hard for him. Going slowly was hard for him. Like learning the canter was hard for him.
The canter
like,
still.
Oh, this is not the thing I've done for 12 years that he had done that.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a real challenge.
Yeah.
When you're buying them to do something that they're not used to doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're not exposed to a lot of riding situations.
But I would imagine most horses available for sale are race horses, right?
They're common.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they're cheap. They're gorgeous.
Well,
they're
because someone's like, well, I can't make money off this thing, sell it, right?
Or, his heart's not on racing anymore.
Yeah, okay.
And we want to find him a nice home with a nice amateur rider.
Yeah, sure.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're cheap, they're gorgeous, they're athletic, they're great riding horses.
Yeah.
But you need to have some sort of background.
Right.
Where you can stay on, and you should be a good enough rider that you can give them clear cues. Because, like, one thing with Rocky, like, getting him to work in what we call a frame, where he kind of lifts his back and he uses his muscles to kind of lift the rider's weight.
Right.
Cueing him to do that, I had to be so consistent and specific with that cue.
Right.
And then as soon as he did it, like, relax and be like, good boy.
Right.
And the timing just had to be so good that if you are not able to do that, you end up with a really confused horse.
Yeah, okay.
Because you're asking him to do something, he's like, this. Yeah.
Definitely when because it's the only time I've been on a horse, like when we went trail riding, Thunder got to a point with the day where he went, this guy doesn't even know what he's doing. And I'm just going to ignore him when he tells me to do stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was, by accident, by inexperience, I was just giving him very mixed signals.
Yeah. And they get confused.
You know, because the stuff he's learned, this means this means that. I was like, I'm doing it by accident or not knowing I'm doing it. Or I'm sending the opposite signal that I'm trying to send. So I don't have any muscle memory for this kind of stuff. You know, they're like, hey, do this. And then I'm getting it all wrong. But yeah, I think with Rocky, because when you started, you had ridden a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
But then you guys started having a much better relationship once you got a trainer in.
Yeah, because I had ridden a lot.
Because he needed a certain level of, consistency and understanding of how he was interpreting stuff.
I had always ridden school horses that already knew.
Yeah, right.
What the aids were.
Yeah,
I had to install those aids on him.
Yeah.
And that's just a different type of skill.
Yeah.
And the other thing is also, let's say, apart from X-race horses, horses that have been bred and trained to saddle, really important to do a pre-purchase exam with a vet.
Oh, yes, of course.
So make sure, there's no issues that might crop up. Just they end up being very expensive. Having your trainer ride the horse as well. And having them, say yes, no to them, that's a really good thing. And also being aware that your environment at home and how you're going to handle a horse might be different from how the seller handles a horse.
Right.
So there's a lot of stories out there, you'll find them, where someone buys a horse and over the first 2 months they have the horse becomes worse behaved, worse to ride, sometimes even dangerous. And then the person always goes, oh, it's because it must be that the seller drugged them, all that.
Right.
But it might just be how they're handling the horse. So let's say the seller is an experienced person and they're firm but fair, clear cues.
Right.
And then the owner, lets the horse get away with things.
Because they love them.
Yeah. The horse, starts to nip when they're putting the saddle on and they don't do anything of it.
Right.
And then it gets worse and then the horse starts to kick. Or, when they're riding, they ask the horse to do one thing and the horse goes, I don't really want to. And then they don't go, actually, you have to. And then it gets worse and worse.
I've seen that with Rocky every time I visited.
Yeah. And the horse goes, oh, great, I can get away with this.
Yeah, okay.
And then after 2 months, you've got a completely different horse.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's a different rider.
Right.
Yep. So getting help.
Yep.
Getting lessons on a regular basis until your trainer's like, yeah, actually, it's fine, is also super important.
Right.
Because a lot of people they get the horse, and fair enough, it's really exciting. They neglect that part a little bit. And then you end up having to go back and fix problems, which is way harder.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So find the right horse. You need to find them with the right background for you.
Yes.
That are healthy.
Yep.
We have a vet exam.
Yep.
And also, you should be really, really, really rich.
That certainly helps a lot. But hey, like X-race horses, if you know what you're doing, they're great, great horses.
I'm going to cut that last part.
No! They are! I love them! The Tiny Vet podcast is brought to you by Upilio. Sources for our topics can be found at upilio.io. Outro music by Matt Charleston.